Approval of the minutes from August 1. Any comments? Take a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 3, communications. It says none, but I think we got one.
There should be a notice for a public hearing for changes. What they're doing is updating the shoreline floodplain zoning, basically is what it is. So they've updated that. They've updated the maps, but the maps don't really affect the town because most of our floodplain is in the shoreline jurisdiction. There's one parcel that's on the southeast corner of JJ and KE, I think, southwest corner. But that's already a wetland, part of an outlot owned by LPSD. So all the communities in Wisconsin had to update their floodplain zoning based on FEMA's updated FEMA zoning or FEMA requirements. And so the county's going through that. And so if you're inclined to want to know anything about floodplain, you can go to the public hearing.
Okay. Item 4, unfinished business, none. Item 5, new business A, Patricia Collins, W298 N2778 Locust Lane, Ray, consideration and possible action on a request to adjust a lot line on the Collins property to address an encroachment by an adjoining lot line, tax key number DELT 0774033.
All right, up on the screen, I do show where they are located. Locust Lane is a private drive just off of Maple Avenue and adjacent to Shady Lane. You can kind of see from this where the lot is to the northwest. The lot line looks like it encroaches in onto that house. The property owners were concerned about that when they built the house. They provided me with surveys of that property, and basically, I wasn't going to go out there to determine if it was encroaching or not. So I told them to get their own surveyor, and it took them a long time, but they got their own surveyor, and they did a survey, and they determined that in fact that property did encroach onto, or that they did encroach onto the Collins property. And so between the two of them, they worked it out, and you can see the result of that is that the lot line moved to the southeast by 5 to 8 feet. I think it was between 5 and, yes, like 5 and 7 feet it moved. It wasn't a straight line, but it moved to the southeast there. So that was done on the side, and then they had a deed transaction. So anytime there's a land transfer or a land swap or exchange of property, they're supposed to come to the town for approval, Plan Commission for approval, so we can make sure that they meet all the requirements prior to that document being recorded. This one's a little different because they actually are trying to correct a problem that was created by the surveyor for the property that that worked on the house to the northwest on that. So we brought it. Dan and I are bringing it to you today, just to let you know what happened there, and then make some comment approval. We have a section in the code 1811 that gives us some criteria. I went through the criteria, and it meets all the criteria. This is in shoreline zoning, so a lot of the stuff kind of relates to the county's zoning code, which these lots are both legal non-conforming. They're small lots they never really met any size requirements. They do meet the side yard setbacks, so that was one of the criteria that we have here. So based on the fact that they meet all the criteria, I am recommending that that we approve and allow this land transfer to take place, the adjustment to take place.
Questions, discussion? Motion.
allow the land transfer lot line on the common property to address encroachment by the adjoining lot owner, tax DLT 0774-03.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 5B, Tom Beaudry, 229 Lindale Road LLC, rate consideration and possible action on the reapproval of a certified survey map to split his land at N47W28229 Lindale Road into 2 parcels.
All right, this property is located north of Highway 16 and south of Highway JK. Currently has the Cassandra's Motorsports on it. About a little over a year ago, we had, through that summer, we had discussions about a potential development on Lot 2. And that's called the Toy Box, and that may be coming back from what we hear. But we did approve this certified survey map in August of 2022. It's the creation of 2 lots, and then there's an outlot for their stormwater pond that's going to be like a shared, I think the owner of Lot 1 is going to own the outlot and maintain the pond on that. But there's a requirement in the state statutes that says that they have to record that CSM within 1 year of the last approval by the municipality. That was August 22nd, I think, of last year that the town board approved it. And lo and behold, they came in about a week after that year was up and asked us to sign it. And we said, can't do that. In the meantime, while that happened, or as that happened, the county was notified, and the county realized that they never really saw that certified survey map, and they have some jurisdiction in this southeastern portion of the lot. There's some wetland there, but then there's some environmental corridor, and then county jurisdiction there, and so they need to review that as well. But Tom Beaudry brought in the CSM hasn't changed since a year ago. So I'm recommending that we reapprove the CSM prepared by CJ Engineering. Same condition, which was the owner has to provide a signed shared driveway agreement, which they've submitted. It was unsigned at this time, but we'll review that and make sure that it's proper before it gets signed. And then once we get that, we could execute the CSM on that. It will be subject to county's comments as well.
Will the county weigh in before we execute, I assume?
Yes.
Okay.
And maybe, I mean, there could be minor changes requested by the county. So
we should make the approval subject to condition.
I would make that subject to the county reviewing that, yeah. If there's anything significant, we'll bring it back.
Okay. And then the date is still 2022. Will we change that as we sign it, or will we get an updated?
I don't know do you know what they brought in?
These are,
They didn't make any changes.
yeah, the one that's in the packet still has 2022
Okay.
as the signature date.
Okay.
So,
Oh, yeah, the signatures would have to change to 2023, yes.
Yeah.
It'll be reflected, all the signatures will reflect this year's meetings and dates and approvals. Because it starts the calendar over again. Maybe
1
we'll
year.
do it again in a year, who knows?
Is there a stamp on the CSM to reflect the date of it, or?
There isn't, to my knowledge. Same problem as last time, we had no date, so.
Well, I'll just make a motion to approve the CSM as presented in the packet, and that's in front of us this evening for the land at N47W28229 Lindale Road into the 2 parcels, subject to the receiving of the signed shared driveway agreement, and subject to any comments from Waukesha County.
Second.
any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 5C, Lee Peterson, W240N2385, Pewaukee Road, rate consideration and possible action on a request for an exemption to the height restrictions to construct a chimney and flue and a cupola on a house to a maximum height of 44 feet 10 inches and a cupola on an accessory structure to a maximum height of 30 feet 1/2 inch.
Okay, this property is along the lake. It's south of San Franciscan Road, kind of adjacent or to the east of Oakwood Grove Road, if you're familiar with that area. I don't have a location map to show you on that, but it is in the Shoreland District, and so the county has reviewed this, and they have a requirement that the maximum height can only be 42 feet for a principal structure, and only 18 feet actually for an accessory structure. I'm going to talk about the accessory structure first, because the issue is that because they have, and similar to what our code says, for if you ask for an increase in height, you can go up, for every foot that you go up, you have to have an extra foot of offset or setback. And so they have the ability to have 7 more feet on the accessory building. So the county's allowed them to go up to 25 feet. They're requesting to go up to that 30 feet and 1/2 inch on the accessory building. The house, their requirement is 42 feet, and their code says that we can allow an exemption to the height restriction for what's known as ornamental towers, and I've confirmed that they would consider a cupola ornamental towers, as well as chimneys and flues. There's no limit as to how high those can go, but it's up to the town plan commission, not their plan commission, but our plan commission, to make that determination as to what we would allow or what we would suggest. It would go back to the county with whatever we state at this meeting tonight. So they requested it to go up to 44 feet 10 inches. Our code, outside the shoreland, has an overall height limit, the lowest point of a house to the highest of 45 feet. So in essence, the house, if that same house was put in the town's zoning outside of shoreland, we would have allowed it without question to be up, because it's 2 inches below the 45. Our accessory building limit is 20 feet overall, but we would allow that extra 10 feet of increase up to 30 feet for accessory buildings on that. So it's really, the request is for an exemption to the county's height standards, and they push it back to the town to make a determination if we would allow it or not. And if so, then they will, my understanding is they'll probably take our recommendation and just go with it, with their zoning permit on that. This is the house. It's basically the chimney and flue that goes up as high as the cupola does. And the accessory building is very similar. It's just the cupola that goes up. There's no chimney on that. So my recommendation is to approve the overall height of approve the exemption of 2 feet 10 inches for the principal building, to allow it to go up to 44 feet 10 inches, and then allow the 5 feet, for the accessory building, to allow it to go 5 feet 6 inches to an overall height of 30 feet for the accessory building. There's this little 1/2 inch difference there. I'm not going to argue that a whole lot, but the way I got to my 30 feet is that we are allowed, our code, accessory buildings outside the shoreline allows 20 feet plus 10 feet, and that's our limit. 30 feet is our limit in every other district outside of that. So I'm not going to climb up and measure and make sure they're 1/2 inch below, but my recommendation is to limit that to 30 feet 0 inches.
Where did the 5 feet 6 inches come from?
It's 25 feet, which is what's allowed by the county,
Yeah.
plus 5 feet 6 inches to get to the top. So you get 25,
Isn't that 30 feet,
I'm
6
sorry,
inches?
I'm
So
sorry.
now we're,
No,
the half inch
I
is.
take that back, that was, it's 20, their roof line is 24 feet. You want to, it's 24 feet, 6 inches to the ridge line,
Okay,
and 5 feet, 6 inches, 6.5 inches to
For
the,
the
to the top.
okay.
That's what it is. I know you can't read that, but it's 24, this number is 24 feet, 6 inches to the ridge line. Can't see my arrow, can you? I always think you can see my arrow, but you can't. But just to the ridge line on the accessory building, that number is 24 feet, 6 inches.
Blocking any views?
I know there's this, half-inch issue. So that-
You can,
yeah.
we can go up, once again, the county doesn't have a limit, so if we allow the extra half inch, that's fine. I'm just, I put it in there just to be consistent with our code, which doesn't necessarily apply to this particular property.
I guess
Well,
I'd rather not. I'd rather-
if you can shorten it by a half an inch, I think we'll approve it at 30. Okay. Problem solved.
Yeah, well, I guess I was just saying, I'm not concerned about a half-inch.
Yeah.
That's-
I'm not-
You know, and so it wouldn't matter to me if we let them keep it is for a half an inch.
Yeah, I just want to be consistent, so if someone outside the district came in and said, well, I want 30,
Yeah, I think the issue is we need to
1
be
inch or
consistent though,
2
because
inches.
somebody's gonna come in and say, well, you let them have a half an inch, and we just gotta make sure that we are,
and we've had this
Yeah.
argument before in the past about little inches of being over and not over,
Okay.
so.
we give people an inch and they take a lot more liberties,
Take
so,
two.
yeah.
And 2 becomes 4, and then 4
Yeah.
becomes 8.
I'll make a motion to approve the allowance of the exception to the county shoreline ordinance height requirement of 2 foot 10 inches total overall height, 44 feet 10 inches for the principal's residence, and 5 foot 6 inches total overall height, 30 feet 0 inches for the accessory building, since the heights are consistent with the height allowances in the town code for the Lee Peterson property.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. All right. Item 6.
We'll let the county know, I think you have to go back to the county for the zoning permit, right? Okay. You probably don't have to change the plan, just change the number. I don't know if we're gonna be able to measure that half inch on the plans, so. Thank you.
Item 6, discussion, none. Item 7, announcements and planning items. Next meeting, November 7th. Guess that's kind of all there is on that. Item 8,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Got you home 12 minutes early, Dan.